What's up, guys? Welcome back to the weekend edition of Rawstocks. This is Rustic. Today we're going to be taking a look at four tickers. We're going to look at some of the higher time frames on those tickers, see if we can get some indication on where price might likely to be head into this week, maybe even into June. Before we get started, don't forget to check out the link in the description below to the new Rawstocks website, rawstocksllc.com. Lots of information on the Discord and the different services that we provide. So let's go ahead and jump into the chart. We got Tesla pulled up first. Tesla's got some big things happening this week with the vote. We also have CPI and PPI this week as well. So we should see some movement in the market in Tesla and on the rest of the tickers that we're going to be taking a look at today. We got the monthly chart pulled up because this is the weekend edition. We're going to look, like I said, at the higher time frames for clues. And so on the monthly chart, we got price above the 100, below the 20 and the 50 period. You can see we've tried to run a test on that 50 and failed a couple different times. And now we've just been flat the last couple weeks as we're consolidating, as you'll see later on the 1 hour time frame, as we're consolidating into that vote that's going to occur. Okay, so if that vote comes in and the market reacts in a bearish way, we're likely to run a test on the 100 period again. That could take us as low as 147, maybe not all by this week, but it should be another test on the 100 period. Okay, 147, 148, maybe even 150, not quite hitting that line. Right, it wouldn't be a great look for Tesla for sure, because we got the 20 and the 50 moving down. We also have the RSI below the 50, slightly neutralized, but not exactly. I wanted to take a look at RSI for a minute on the monthly chart. If we look at, as far back as the chart will take us to 2013, you can see we've only had 2 times where we ran RSI lows to the points that we have gotten. And this was in 2019, and then this was back in 2023 in January, so the beginning, before we saw that nice rip up. Okay, and that got us down to the 100 period. Well, you can see RSI is stronger than it was back in 2023, even when we ran this test in April this year of the 100 period. So the fact that we're getting higher lows here, even if we did pop down, I would expect us to continue to push up. Now, I'm on the side that I'm a little bit more leaning for the move up, but I wouldn't leave it off of the table to run one more test. I mean, we did run it back in April. So, again, not exactly expecting it. I am expecting that we're going to push up and finally break above this monthly 50 period, which is at that 194 range. And I think once we break out of there, right, we got the 20 period that's moving down the monthly chart. Up around 210. If we can break above that and hold, see, last time we tried to break above it was back in July of last year, right? And then we weren't able to hold above it. We popped back up again and ultimately dropped down really hard. And then we haven't been able to get back above it. So if we could get back above that 200 level, we could potentially start to, it's going to take probably the whole year to get that to start to curve up again. You can see as it was coming down back in May 2023, it took 1, 2, 3, 4 months for that to really get curved back up until we fell down below it. So again, it would probably take multiple months of getting above that 20 period to start to see that curve back up. And at that point, we could see if it could push us back up to the 299, 300 level, right? That's our major liquidity levels on the monthly chart. Bullish or buy side liquidity at 299.47, we'll call it 300. Major sell side, we'll call it 100. It's at 100 and officially 101.81. Okay, so those are our major ranges right now as far as buy side, sell side liquidity go on the monthly time frame. Let's drop down into the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, again, we're below all the moving averages, but we got a flat 200 period. This is the first chart that the 200 period shows up for us. Okay, we've rejected this 20 period quite a few times, but we're right at it. So all we got to do is see this pop back up above, make a run again on the 200 period, which is right around that same monthly 20 period or 50 period, sorry. But if we could get up to that 194, 196 area, We could pop above that 200 period on the weekly, then we're right in range of the 50 and 100, and we can get back above those and then make that run up higher. Okay, we have some additional liquidity targets. If you look on this time frame now, throw some internal liquidity targets for buy side, and we could say there's an internal sell side range there at 138.64. Okay, and on the weekly chart, we talked about this in the past, but we filled the gap on the weekly chart there. So again, just looking for price to pop up and hold a weekly candle above, you know, roughly 183, 184. Last, we'll check out the daily chart on Tesla. Above the 20 and the 50, we're closed right on. No surprise. RSI neutralized. If we go back to the weekly chart RSI on Tesla, you can see above the moving average, right? Also on that trend line or the horizontal level from the monthly chart on the RSI, see that bounce, right? Now we're above the control line. We can stay above it. That could push us up higher to take out those moving average levels we talked about. And then if we go back to the daily chart, closed right at the moving average convergence of the 20 and 50. We got RSI neutralized. We got the 100 that has been, you know, basically giving us resistance on these moves up. Popped up to it, you know, popped up above it, but then next week fell below it. Okay, one test, two tests as we start to get in this tighter range between these daily moving averages, the lower ones, and then the 100 period. Okay, if we can get above that and hold it, we could potentially see that run to the 200 period on the daily, which is again right around the 200 level. So a lot of reason why we might push up to that 200 level, because there's a lot of different high time frame targets back up there. We haven't run a test of the 200 yet either. Since we dropped below it, we haven't even come close. We tested the 50, now we tested the 100 twice, right? Next test will crack the 100 most likely, and then head to the 200 to run a test. Even if we reject that 200 level, right, which we attempted here, but at this point the 200 period was much higher at 205. If we test that 200 level where the 200 period is, right, I would expect the reaction there first. Boom, back down, right? Run a test on the 100 period. We'll mark out what this might look like with our path tool, right? We can get above it. That would be black. If we can get above it, above the 100 period, and run a test on the 200, then we'd likely come back and test the 100 period, maybe even fall a little bit lower depending on where these daily low moving averages are, the 50 and 20, but then likely push up, right, to this buy side liquidity there, 205, maybe even higher, 218, right? And then we got a lot of gaps around here that's going to draw price in. And so once we get moving and get that run up, it's going to be magnificent to watch. Let's jump over to Nvidia. Nvidia, we got the monthly chart up. Take away some of these drawings. Okay, you can see on the monthly chart, overextended, right? Blown off of all of the moving averages. Fair value gaps in between all of these months. Okay, and now we potentially have a topping monthly candle, as we see RSI top here as well. Let's go ahead and draw a horizontal line here on the tops. Okay, you can see topped there, had a down month. Topped here, next month was down, right? Not significantly down, but still a down month. Go to the next time we hit it, right here, didn't quite hit it. Next month was a down month. Now we're back at it in June, up at it, right? You could say we maybe hit it here too if June ends up being a down month, but we'll just have to see, right? June isn't over. We're only a week and a half in. So we'll see if this continues to be a topping candle or not, or if it starts to fade and dig into this large breakout candle. But we are having topping signals, and the fact that we're so far off of the moving averages, we're gonna want to come down and at least test the 20 period. But there could be some consolidation. It doesn't always have to be, so crazy as it like automatically falls. So, what I'm more suspecting is that we maybe come down, maybe we have an equal candle, right? And then maybe we come back down and test it and then maybe run higher a little bit. I'm not expecting it to just, dump down. And I know we got the stock split, so the price is not reflective of the split yet, but move will be the same regardless. Fair value gap here could find support at that level. Fair value gaps inside here as well could find support at those levels. So we'd be watching the 20 period primarily to see if we end up below it, or if that 20 period supports price when it gets there on the monthly chart. That could definitely take some time. If we look at the weekly chart, also moving averages bullish, right? Kind of blown off the 20 period, right? Here we see maybe a potential of divergence setting up. Stock splits are not necessarily bullish after they split. A lot of times they consolidate or even go down a little bit once the stock split has occurred. So we'll be watching. We still had a nice strong week last week. Any test of the 20 period would be a buying opportunity for a bounce. Okay, we're pretty far off of it now, not likely to hit it next week, right? But I'd be watching this fair value gap in here between 957 and 1069. Again, not split adjusted price. You can see on the 20 period on the weekly chart, it's been a good indicator of where our bounces come. So just be watching that 20 period for the next bounce. Daily chart. Okay. Also really respecting that 20 period pretty frequently. Falling back down to 50 or 100 period on the daily chart is definitely buying opportunities. Okay. I wouldn't necessarily be married to ideas of shorting this stock. It's been strong. There's no reason to not think it's been strong. We do start to see some divergence setting up here on the daily time frame. Okay, just a little bit as we pushed higher, right? On price, we get lower RSI. Might be looking for us to come back down and test this 20 period moving average, right? Where we might see another move up. Currently, if it was to happen tomorrow, it's going to come in somewhere around like 1084, 1091, whatever pre-adjusted price. We'll jump over to SPY. SPY's got a little bit more on the chart that we're taking a look at here. On SPY, on the monthly, I wanted to look at this channel, right? It goes all the way back to the top of 2000. We got the touch on 2022. Then we got, extended above or a small breakout of this channel top, right? The resistance. You also got your channel bottoms here with a couple tests back in 2009, 2011, right? Not a full test in 2016. And then we got our COVID where we tested the trend line. Also happens to be where the 100 period is. So pretty well-defined channel. The fact that we're breaking out, interesting. Okay, what I mostly want to look at is since October of 2022 to current price is that we had a bottom, we popped up, we came back down into optimal trade entry level. Okay, and since then have extended through our targets, right, above to symmetrical swing, currently encroaching on 2 standard deviations. Likely that we could see some kind of pullback to the 20 period moving average, right? Not necessarily though. A couple different things that we could see. Okay, if we were to hit this 2 standard deviations at 538.03, right, we could see a correction come back down to this ascending 20 period moving average. Maybe just run a test on this liquidity level, okay, and then see us push up from there. Now, if we didn't do that and we didn't fall all the way down, we might just see a price run a test on this broken resistance line, right? Resistance can become support in some cases. And so we could see just a back test of this resistance line. And from there, we could see a run on 3 standard deviations. That's coming in at 601.55. I wouldn't get too excited about it, but it's totally possible, right? As we continue to push up. This is a monthly chart though, so this could take a while to play out. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Okay, weekly chart shows that we already ran that test. We came back for a new high. Here's our RSI divergence, right? We're right at 2 standard deviations, nearly. Could be an indicator that we're going to see price come back down again. Doesn't mean it has to, but this is a key level, the standard deviation. So we did get the break above. We got the dip back up, back below, and then we broke above again. So we'll see if it was a double fake out of the broken resistance line, and then we're going to drop back below it and run a test of, you know, some of the additional fib levels, or even you can see it's interesting that, you know, they're fairly close to the same range, but our one standard deviation or symmetrical swing right around where that 50 period is, our negative 6.2, which is a profit target on the fib level, right around where the 100 period is, right, and then the negative 2.7 right around where the 200 period is. So fib levels lining up with moving averages, right? There's also fair value gaps in here. Not likely that we're going to come down to them. This market has just been incredibly bullish, but we do have a fair value gap right here that we dipped down into, and then we saw price push back up through. Again, weekly chart could take, you know, a few weeks. Could be this week that we hit this 2 standard deviations. Could look to go short at 538 and see if you at least get some kind of reaction. Not financial advice though. And then on the daily chart, we got, again, all the moving averages lined up bullish. We saw a test of the 50. We saw a back test of the broken trend line on the daily chart. Okay, now we're pushing higher. We do have RSI divergence setting up here as well. Doesn't mean that we can't push just a little bit higher, try to get that 2 standard deviations, but we almost hit it. So you might call that, you know, close enough, and see if we get, you know, our reversal next week. We got, again, CPI, PPI, and some exciting things coming up in the market. So totally could be a week where they push us back down. Last, we'll look at QQQ, and it's got a very similar situation going on as SPY does, but you got your channel and you got your fib levels, and you can see QQQ absolutely destroyed, right? 1, 2, 3, pushing 4 standard deviations. So the setup looked a little bit different. Here's our, you know, potential above targets of 514.29, 557.61 on 5 and 6 standard deviations, but I'd be looking for a reaction at the 470, 471 level. Okay. Beyond that, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. If this RSI divergence plays out and this 4 standard deviations fib level plays out, should see price drop back down at least to test the 20 period on the monthly chart for QQQ. Dropping into the weekly, you see we broke above, back tested, had a pretty good week last week, right? Looking for that 470.97, 4 standard deviations before we potentially see another reaction. Okay, also our RSI here, right? Not setting up divergence yet, still has room to push. There we see that, you know, potential push to 471. And then maybe even higher. Not looking for 515 necessarily. We'll be watching gamma levels when it comes to QQQ to see where the dealers are wanting to push this thing. And the last thing we're going to look at is the daily chart on QQQ. Then we'll wrap it up for the weekend update. Again, moving averages, bullish, right? RSI, divergence setting up, higher high, lower high on RSI, almost to the 471. Closer look, high 465.74, so missed it, you know, by a couple dollars, a few dollars, but doesn't mean we can't push back up, right? We got a, you know, a small bearish candle, then a doji, right? So we could even see this drop back down to the 20, right? Recycle back down, try to make that push above or to the 4 standard deviations on the fib level. So that's what I got for you guys today. Hopefully it's been insightful. If you guys like the multiple charts, or you have any requests for specific charts that we want to look at throughout the week, I can certainly make some videos on that. Right now, just having fun. I'm trying to add some variety into it, as Tesla has been consolidating for the last, you know, 2 weeks or more. So brought a few other tickers into the picture. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Continue to support the channel. We love you guys. Have a great weekend and enjoy your trading session tomorrow. Good luck. And again, don't forget to check out rawstocksllc.com, our new website with information on how to join our trading Discord. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.